I freaking love this word. I think it's so fascinating to see what it is saying about us being begotten and being born into this inculcation, but it's just a reminder that Yod is the spark of the Aleph. It is a fractal of Aleph. If Yalad means to beget, to be born, it's the Aleph that is coming forth as the spark, as a vision. Being known, I knew you before I formed you. There's this intimacy of Yada.
Well, it's almost like the language of, if we were to have children in maturity, I wouldn't allow 4 drinks to dictate the outcome. Maturity would say, let's reason and let's put intent, let's put vision on the child before we procreate.
What are we wanting to bring in?
What is our intention to bring forth, to beget something? What are we trying to do? So this is now maturity, bringing forth maturity. This is the difference in the world.
So when I was sharing on Wednesday about the child was created through Ruka, the Kucha,
Yes.
the spirit of holiness,
Yes.
whole, healed, Aleph.
She was already in the place.
So the begetting, or that manifestation of the child within, was from this status of the Aleph. It was an intentional pregnancy that created Yeshua. Think about us birthing children, or that spark of creation, if husband and wife come together and they're already absolute. Do you think that affects the genetics that we're passing on through epigenetics? I say yes, absolutely, because the science is backing that up. So really what this is saying, so the Dalet, part of the definition of the Dalet means to deliver. Can you see what that is saying through the code? Aleph Lamed is the word El. El means what? Please, somebody tell me what El means, because if you don't, then you're not listening to us, or we're not teaching it. What does El mean?
God.
You got it, Drew. So if I just said the Dalet is delivered, then what is this saying through the code? It means God is birthed. That's you. That's me. To beget, to connect everything that Ken is saying. The fallen means that we surrendered our nobility when we came in. God is birthed, surrendering its sovereignty and nobility to enter in this divine matrix. Sovereignty as God is outside of time. We came outside of time into time, which was our deposition, surrendering our nobility so that God could be delivered into this matrix, the divine matrix, the wave into the particle. Now, one last thing. Sorry, I got passionate. I'm not going to apologize for my passion. I enjoy sharing from my place of passion. I just have to reframe that. Ken's going, bring it back to whiskey instead of champagne.
Another person's revelation. So please hear the love in it, right? I mean, sometimes we feel, sometimes we see, and sometimes we say. So we're trying to be kind in this. We don't want to impress anyone. All we want to do is just elevate to raise somebody. So I always say, well done in the expression. Where you are and what you see is exactly what you see, right? So.
Oh, I wasn't beating anybody up.
I know. I'm just saying.
I wasn't beating anybody up. I was getting excited for how I see.
Okay. Well, that's my point.
And sharing it.
That's what I was trying to get to. She's seeing where she's seeing, and she's being zealous for what she's seeing. So it's all good. But anyways, go ahead.
So I'm sorry if you guys felt beat up, like I was trying to make you and putting you on the spot. My job, the way I see what I've come in to do is to pull stuff out of you, mishpachah, to pull it out. I'm using my words to help pull the anointing out of you. So I give everyone the opportunity to respond instead of me telling, because then you declare it. And if you declare it, that's an Amar. That's an admiral. You just declared it as so. So I'm giving us an opportunity to do that. That's what Ken does for me when we're talking, when he asks me questions. So I can declare it as it. Yalad on the outside is a yod and a dalet. Yad is the word hand. So again, God delivered. The hand of God. God's work indeed in this divine matrix is to master that which is on the inside. God delivers is meant for the manifestation of the shepherding staff within the inside, the authoritative stance through the work and the deed of the hand. We are the hand of God. It's interesting because anybody that watched what was the show, the Game of Thrones, the Hand of the King, you know, the hand of the king was the one that was doing all the doing, right? He was making everything happen. So the king would make a decree, the hand made sure it got done. We are the hand of God delivered. That's what this word is saying. So every time when you hear Ken say born or begotten, and he's connecting all of these words in the Proto-Indo-European roots, and he's saying it over and over and over again, this is us, God delivered. We are to do the work and the deed of the vision that was given to us before we were born. This little spark vision was given before you were born to come in and use your authority to be a deliverer, to deliver something as God, as your work. So if you haven't found out your purpose, dig deep, because you were brought in as the hand of God to do something.
That's good.
So that's my CEO, Chief Encouraging Officer, to stir you up and to stir myself up, because as I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to me.
I highly recommend, and we're going to end with this, this word, this is the root of the word, but the original word, there we go, it's that, it's a yod, okay? But this is the word for born. You are all born with a right and a left hand.
Yep, bing, bing.
Trying to make the point that verily, verily, go right first and then go left. The right done correctly will automatically reveal the left, and left automatically equates the vibration of God. And you can write that up if you want. That's where I'm trying to go. My point is that the world does not see us in the government's perspective of where we are and how they view us as a docket, as still tied to the plaintiff's position.
Holy crap.
Your vessel hasn't left the docket yet. They don't see you even with hands. You're just a 2D. When you comprehend this vibration right here, you'll know that you are right and left-handed. Right is where the definition of lawyer comes from. Left is an attorney. When the right-hand deed of burden of responsibility by begetting and birthing, by the manifestation of your cargo, you can now leave the docket fully as a 3D manifested vessel. Go out into the experience, discover yourself in the sea of humanity. Express yourself as a lawyer. Know what is right and true and upright and just. The morals and the ethics and the vibration of love. In that, you're quickly going to equate what the left hand is as an authoritative, a complement of the marriage contract of weaving the right and the left together. It's not just your hands, it's the whole state of being. The radius of mind becomes the dimension and the diameter of thought. We move dimensions. This is God birthed in the earth. When they know, again, they don't see you as born. You have to prove to yourself that you are live birth. We all came in with the docket, a declaration of live birth, but the world wrestles against us. The oppression of the world and the oppressor of the world puts his boot on their neck, and like they don't even see us as living. When you know this vibration, kinship vibrates as living. You don't even need to speak it. when you spend enough time in the vibration of your right and your left hand, because they always are, this isn't tied behind your back the whole time. This reveals this incrementally, and it comes into right association of intercourse. So in the place of maturity, we stand as whole, as completed. This is you. So it's good to know this word is a very powerful word. This is connected to my name is Kenneth. Kenneth means born of fire. I have pulled this apart by every string and every dimension to extrapolate out Yalad, because my name means born of fire. So you, in your name, as your manifesto, as your deed of title, you would probably start out with Yalad, born of.
So when we're born, just so I can help land the plane for me on this, I need to land the plane. So if it helps you guys land the plane, great. If not, I need to land the plane so I can go lay down and just. When Ken put that yod in there, I realized that this word means born, but so does Yalad. This would be born again.
Born again.
So when you're born with the right hand to go right. When you were given the left hand, you're born again. Lamed, Mem, Dalet. We are water on the inside. We are to instruct ourselves. And when those two come together, when the power comes into the water, this is the word for nation. Can a nation be born in one day? As soon as you've acquired the left hand of authority, you've just been born again. Yes, it can be.
Can be done.
In one day. In one day. One. Echad. Unified. Ruka de Kucha. You are born again. What happens when they are born again? They get a name change. They get a name change. You know why Abraham was changed to Abraham and Sarai was changed to Sarah? Because they were born again. And being born again, they were given a new name. Joshua, son of Nun, his name was changed as well. His name was Hosea, and then it became Yehoshua. He was born again. He was given the left-hand staff of authority because he had already gone the way of right, and he had a new name. I will write a new name. Born again. But you must go through the instruction first in order for that other hand to come within here, because you did the work and the deed on the inside, the outside and the inside.
Rick?
Yeah, this is just like so exciting. I can hardly sit here because when I was that 17-year-old kid opened up that Bible for the first time, this is what I saw. You guys are explaining what it is I saw when I went to church. I thought, what the hell are these guys teaching? But when I got to the New Testament, see, what did I see? I saw Mary, Maria. Who is Mary? What did she do? Well, I don't know what her life was before, but I know this about her. I knew this for a fact when I read it the first time. She went that right-hand path. She walked something that was a lot of tears. It was heartache. It was hardship. Well, and back in the day, I remember thinking myself being put in a vice and it's squeezing. And it's, I'm sure in her earlier years and when she was younger, it was like, what the hell are you doing? This hurts. It's painful. This is difficult. I'm alone. I'm lonely. And it was horrible, she thought. But then it came to her what was going on. And finally, it dawned on her that it was her higher self doing it on the inside of her, bringing her back to the revelation. She is Allah, God. So what came out of Mary when she birthed? What did she birth? Even the Christians today talk about Ishu. You know how they talk about him? There's God. A lot of people, there's God. What are they really looking at? That is just an outside manifestation of what Mary thought about herself.
Yes.
That's all. Yes. Yep. She was thinking that about herself. That's why she manifested it.
That's why she
Exactly.
was already sound and pure of heart, and she manifested that what she was thinking.
And what did she manifest? Reality. What is light? Who are you? Exactly the same thing that Maria is. And that's where I think you get Mary Magdalene, same thing. She was there too. And I think they had, they all talk about how Mary was teaching issue. I bet that was true because they understood what they were on the inside. And yes. I love that whole thing about the in the Old Testament, you talk about the potter and the clay. So you got the clay. You think you're clay. You think you're a man. You think you're a human. But the potter comes along and starts reshaping you. Who's the potter? You are. It's your higher self. And it's poking and it's prodding. And it's like, ow, ooh, quit, stop. Oh, it's the path of sorrow. Who likes any of that? Pretty soon you're shaped and formed, and you don't even know what shape and form you are. You're just something shaped. The next thing you know, you're put in this hot place. You got this stuff splattered all over you. Oh, yuck. It's like a coating. What is this? Blah. Smells awful. Feels awful. Then you're placed in a furnace, completely hot. You're fired. And then you come out. Finally, when you come out, you're put in front of a mirror. And what's put in front of the mirror? This fine crystalline teacup that's completely beautiful, which is really what you were from the beginning. You are the whole. You are God from the beginning. And now you can start to see yourself. So, oh, I have weaknesses. Really? You look at all the faults I have. Really? Look at all the things I've done wrong. Really? Is any of that actually true? Not really. You have done only perfection, walked the perfect path, being totally perfect in a perfect way on a perfect journey that's bringing out the perfection that has always been you from the whole time. And we are going to birth, and we are birthing, and that's the born again. What are we bringing out? The same thing that Mary did. She birthed what was inside of her, and that's what we're birthing to the world.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole vibration of how we see shame and guilt, and am I doing this right or wrong? That in innocence is going back to I think one of the first things that was said is like filling the gap or the void. We're doing it even in what we seem to be a mature state, in which means stature, right? But yet even in that, we're still being birthed. So we're filling the gap. We're coming out of the metaphorical womb. We're filling that gap or that void. We're coming into space. And I love it that Maria as a vibration is arisen, but in the vibration of Yeshua, in the separation of duality, because we're all learning that vibration of divine inspiration. It's like a child coming back, and there's something about coming into the space of realization and revelation that we all take an aha moment. It's that deep breath of inhalation that fulfills the void within us. We are exchanging this micro macro all the time. We are all coming out of that womb matrix through compassion. Everything of the nature of the journey, whether you think it's the most awful thing you've done, it is still seen as compassion. It's still coming about yourself in love. To fill the void, to know that you're born again, to come out of that pit, to come out of that wallow, to come out of that sorrow, regardless if you're 6'7" or 5'4", it does not matter. You're filling a void. You're fulfilling a destiny. And I love it that the Maria is a vibration with the He on the suffix. It's almost like we come in the narrative of Mary birthing Christ as kinship. So we're all birthed in with the reality of kinship of Christ. We're all born into this world with the matrix of the potential of what it is to be Christed. There is a nature around us called atmosphere, called Maria, that gives us from the get-go first breath. The divine inspiration that nurtures us to grow, because Maria means to rise, to be exalted, to be lifted as lofty. And so we're all given the expression of divine inspiration of Maria, to come into that. It's more of an atmosphere around us until we can produce the form and the intention when Maria and Yehoshua come together as one vessel once again, as married. It's fully consummated, filling the gap, fulfilling the void, coming out of the pit of desperation and sorrow in the conclusion of one testimonial song.
I have one last thing to share, and this is for mature audiences only. Someone say this is a PG-13 rating. As Ken is sharing that, and Spirit said, write it this way. So think of Maria and Yeshua. Think of Mary and Joseph, another Miriam and Yosef, Yosef meaning he shall add, or shall be added, Miriam shall be added. This is Hillel and Lila conjoined. There's Hillel, and there's Lila. I wrote this wave down here because when the two of them join together, we have a staff of authority, we have the twin staves that have a spark, and we have the twin staves that have a spark. You see that? So we've got two staves of authority that Lila carries and Hillel carries. When they come together and conjoin in intimacy in the chamber of the heart, it produces an orgasmic wave called bliss. When that happens, a spark is created because the two have unified. So even that which we are doing within our sexual relations as a partner, in partnership, when we have unified our Hillel and Lila on the inside, and I bring that to the table, and my partner brings his Hillel and Lila to the table, and we come in sacred union in intimacy, entwining our two flesh bodies, and we can eclipse ourselves in one another and get into this blissful state of orgasmic relation, creation happens. We just shot out light. Light is. I'm sharing this as a PG-13 because, again, I wouldn't be telling a 5-year-old this. This is what I would be teaching someone that would be getting ready to enjoin themselves into a marriage bed. Of why it's important that the marriage bed should always be approached from this manner, because it is a sacred place of union of creation, with the divine intention to beget God to be delivered. Now, that doesn't mean that it's only just for the procreation of a flesh body. I believe that because of the pattern that I see here, that this is also a way to beget or to birth an idea where the two are coming together in a sacred union, where before intercourse is taken upon oneself, that you're utilizing that sacred moment, not just to pleasure the body, but we are taking our Lila and our Hillel and our Lila, to birth energetically something that is going to send out ripples, a wave of light into the cosmos. I believe this was the intention of sex magic, because I see it in the language of the frequency to see what was attempting to be done. And of course, in the church, you can't talk about that stuff. Oh my gosh, that's like doctrines of demons. But the lesser always has to give way to greater. So if you can comprehend what this is, what does magic mean? To be of help. How do we spell that? Said intentionally. Kol, the crown, the bride who has been given power. Kol, to be of help.
All right.
So again, to beget an idea.
Yes, I was just going to say.
To beget an idea. An idea is electricity.
Yeah.
We're talking about electromagnetism that goes into the waveform in order to materialize into the particle.
Yeah.
Where you just birth something anew.
So what she just really explained was manifesto.
Yep.